This video is dedicated to one of the Game of Thrones online community's most beloved members, Ser Eduardo Blanco, to his granddaughter, Marianne, to their entire family, to AK's uncle, as well as my man, Uncle Henry. George R.R. Martin taught us early that no one in this story was safe.
Poor old dead Ned.
Grey Worm, Jon, and Arya Horseface, they all left Westeros like bosses in their own ways. But this video is focused on 10 of the characters whom we loved or loved to hate that went out like bosses in their own ways.
Both my brothers were soldiers. I want to fight too.
Let's start with one of the big ones. Ned Stark's prisoner, his ward, his son, Theon Greyjoy.
Prince Theon.
Prince Theon. Theon. Did you hate us the whole time?
During the long night, countless Dothraki, Unsullied, free folk, as well as southern men, women, and children went out fighting bravely for the living. But Theon Greyjoy's swan song was special.
I took this castle from you. Let me defend you now.
What made Theon's swan song so powerful was his selflessness. Surrounded by darkness, Theon's primary concern was Bran Stark, the little brother whom he had betrayed.
Theon?
It's Prince Theon now. I just want you to know.
I've done plenty of things that I regret.
Not compared to me, you haven't.
No, not compared to you.
It's too late.
Never too late to come back.
It's never too late to come back. It's never too late to apologize.
Everything you did brought you where you are now. Where you belong. Home.
The world will remember Theon Greyjoy for whom he really was.
Theon.
You're a Greyjoy,
What is dead may never die.
and you're a Stark.
Prince's dead may never die.
You're a good man.
Number 2, Ser Jorah Mormont.
Jorah the Andal.
Jorah worked as a spy in order to obtain a royal pardon until the wine cellar scene all the way back in Season 1, Episode 7. But Ser Jorah saved Dany's life then, for a reason. He had already fallen in love with her. Fast forward to the dragon hatching scene and Jorah vowed
To die for you if need be.
In the canon, Dany promised her old bear that one day she would give him a longsword like none the world has ever seen, dragon forged and made of Valyrian steel. Dany never got Jorah that weapon, but Jorah did get one from Klepto Sam, the two-handed Valyrian steel greatsword of House Tarly.
It's called Heartsbane.
With that sword, as well as his skill at arms, his bravery, his Bane threshold, and his pure love for Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, Ser Jorah was able to protect Dany against impossible odds.
I didn't know Ser Jorah well, but I know this. If he could have chosen a way to die, it would have been protecting you.
And he did just so.
Just so.
Dany's old bear, Ser Jorah, he wasn't the only Mormon to go out like a boss in Game of Thrones Season 8.
Listen to me. You're the future of our
I
house.
don't need you to remind me of that.
Number 3, Ser Jorah's
Cousin.
the little bear,
Lady of Bear Island,
Lyanna Mormon.
a child of 10.
I remember when you were born, my lady. You were named for my Aunt Lyanna.
These two alpha cats had some similarities. Young women who chose their own paths in life, paths that defied cultural expectations of highborn women such as themselves.
I pledge to fight for the North, and I will fight.
Now check this out.
As far as I understand, you're a Snow, and Lady Sandra is a Bolton. Who's your Lannister? I've heard conflicting reports.
Did you catch that? The little bear called Sansa Lady Sandra.
And Lady Sandra is a Bolton.
That was the first time that we saw the little bear on screen, but not the first time that we learned about her laying down the law.
Do you know this wretched girl?
Back in the day, Stannis Baratheon had written to the Mormons, asking for their fealty, to which Lyanna responded,
Bear Island knows no king but the king.
King in the North, whose name is Stark.
Lyanna Mormon was awesome. She played an integral part in the unification of the North.
I don't care if he's a bastard. Ned Stark's blood runs through his veins. He's my king, from this day until his last day.
And Lyanna played an equally integral part in welcoming home Jon Snow.
You left Winterfell a king and came back a... I'm not sure what you are now. A lord? Nothing at all.
So yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts. The little bear has always been a boss. But here's the best part. In the canon, George R. R. Martin dropped a number of clues to suggest that Lyanna Mormon is actually Tormund's bastard daughter. Yup, this Tormund.
The fangs were sharp, but she knew how to use them.
Welcome to Bear Island.
Tormund Tall Talker, husband of bears.
I know you never fucked a bear. You know you never fucked a bear. Right now, I don't want to think about the bear you never fucked.
Tormund Giantsbane never slew a giant, but in Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 3, The Long Night, Tormund Giantsbane's bastard daughter, the Little Bear, she officially earned the title Lyanna Giantsbane.
Every man from Bear Island fights for the strength of 10 mainlanders.
If they're half as ferocious as their lady, the Boltons are doomed.
We're done here.
Number 4. The Lightning Lord, Sir Beric Dondarrion.
This is his moment. When light...
Thoros isn't here anymore, so I hope you're not about to give a sermon.
As a nod to the books, where Beric literally gave up his own life fire for Lady Catelyn, and in effect raised her as Lady Stoneheart, Beric in the show gave up his life fire for Arya Stark, a girl whom he had once looked at as primarily a valuable commodity, someone whom he could sell to her family so as to fund the Brotherhood, to feed the poor.
My lady, it's good to see you again. I'm sorry we parted the way we did.
Was he on your list?
For a little while.
And he was right, all along. Arya Stark of Winterfell, the Night Wolf, she was a very, very valuable commodity, in more ways than one. Speaking of fire lovers, number 5, the Red Woman, Melisandre of Asshai.
She's a mother of demons!
Melisandre was sold to the Red Temple as a child slave at just 7 years old. She lived a long life and made some very, very wrong decisions. Decisions that she would later come to regret.
Mistakes I made. Terrible mistakes.
But all along, Melisandre was fighting for something good. She lit the Dothraki's aurochs, and sure, they got smashed off screen. But let's be real, so did many whites as a result of those flaming aurochs. Melisandre lit the trench, buying time for the Wolves of Winterfell to regroup, and last but not least, Melisandre was the spark that lit the flame that was the Night Wolf, Arya Stark. So yeah, Melisandre's done a lot of bad things over the years, but in her defense, magic comes at a cost, and no one will ever know the pain that Melisandre suffered over those years to perform her magic. Melisandre had been dying for years, hundreds of years, but she hung in there, and she played her part in saving humanity. Speaking of humanity, Sir Gregor Clegane never really had much of that, but he did have free will until Qyburn stole that from him, or so he thought.
Hello, big brother.
Gregor was one of the biggest monsters in the story, no ifs, ands, or buts. Sir Gregor preyed on the weak, specifically women and children. He was a sad, sad little man. But at the end of the day, Gregor showed his quote-unquote master who was boss.
Sir Gregor, I command you.
Obey your queen, Sir Gregor.
Which leads us to lucky number 7, the man whom we all grew to love, the man who showed the mountain who was boss, Sandor Clegane. He took down 4 Kingsguard with ease. And then his brother. And let's not forget, this was personal.
You say your brother gave you that sword. My brother gave me this.
Not just because Gregor burned Sandor as a child, but because Gregor preyed on women and children, most notably Rhaegar's wife, Elia Martell, and their children. But what may have unsettled Sandor the most about his sad little big brother Gregor was that all signs point to Gregor killing not only Sandor's parents, but their little sister. So Sandor's finish was big on so many levels. His crowning glory wasn't the fight, it's what he did for Arya.
About and look at me. Look at me!
Back in the day, Sandor failed to get Arya safely back to her family, yet she showed him mercy. And in the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones, Sandor returned the favor. He may not have been able to get Sansa out of the city during the Battle of the Blackwater, but he was able to return Arya's gift of mercy by preventing Arya from going down the same road that he did, a dead-end road of vengeance. So sure, Sandor killed Gregor, but what Sandor will be remembered for is saving Arya's life, a beautiful tribute to the little sister whom he was unable to save so many years ago. Number 8, Sideways Infinity, the Spider, Varys. Varys is a man of many lies, a man who is unafraid to face the truth.
We both know what she's about to do.
Varys was a very complicated character. The icing on the cake for Varys was that by the end of the story, Tyrion was his friend. So his own friend betrayed him, yet he stayed true to his beliefs.
Goodbye, old friend.
Neither his love for his friend Tyrion, nor his love for the millions of strangers whom he'd never met, ever wavered. What a man.
I hope I deserve this. Truly I do. I hope I'm wrong.
Number 9, Missandei. This is a former slave from Naath, which, more than any society on the planet, is known for being peaceful.
Then I will take you there.
My people are peaceful. We cannot protect ourselves.
Speaking of good hearts, Missandei of Naath.
Missandei had a good heart, a great heart. She was kind, she was smart, and she had a good head, until she didn't. Missandei was loyal, and because of that, she began to see red early in Season 8.
Without the Dragon Queen, there'd be no problem at all. We'd all be dead already.
That fire inside Missandei continued to grow until her final moments, when she was given the right to last words. What a brave woman. However, Missandei's final moment of strength was bittersweet. If we look back at 7 of the 8 others whom we've mentioned thus far, there's a common theme. Theon, Jorah, Lyanna, Beric, Melisandre, Sandor, and Varys, they all did what they did for love. Whereas Missandei's final moment was fueled by hate. She was strong, but hateful, just like Gregor. Which leads us into the big one, number 10, Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen. She dismantled the Iron Fleet with ease. She eviscerated the Scorpions of King's Landing and roasted the Golden Company. For all intents and purposes, Dany and Drogon took the city single-handed. But Dany broke, and she became that which she had always been fighting against, a tyrant. Jon Snow heard her out, he listened to her final words.
Can't hide behind small mercies.
And then he swung the sword, ironically because
the world we need is a world of mercy. It has to be.
Which brings us back to one of the Bridge 4 originals, Drogon, and the soul swapping of dragon riders. Jon swung that sword because Dany was unable to show mercy. And because a piece of Dany presumably lives on inside Drogon, that means that Daenerys Stormborn's final act was, in fact, an act of mercy. She spared Jon Snow. The mercy that Drogon showed to Jon Snow was Daenerys Stormborn's choice, as her life fire now burns within Drogon, just as Eduardo Blanco's life fire still burns strong within all of us. One love.